How's the sound, Teddy? Is it all right?
That's good.
That sounds good for
That's
us.
really good.
All right, so maybe welcome to Aardvark Interviews. Today we have the sensational Max McGuire, the sensational sidekick, Mark Mindek. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm
It was
so
a
happy.
long walk.
It was a long walk from the bathroom?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, I was looking at your bios. I figured why not since you sent them to me.
Hey, why not?
But I've known these two gentlemen for a very long time. So if I say anything that the audience may deem disrespectful, it probably is. Okay, so
Most likely.
yeah, most likely. Let's go with Mark Mindek first.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
All right, Mark. You're kind of in the stilts business, right? What
For
is
sure,
that?
yes.
About? You act
I,
on stilts?
Well, actually, I dance on stilts. I'm usually about 8.5 feet tall when I dance,
8.5.
and I've been doing it for over 25 years.
Have you ever fallen?
Oh, sure. The worst thing that happens when I fall is I use really foul language on the way down.
You don't get hurt? What are you, Superman?
Not generally. No, I bounce pretty well. It's genetic.
All right, I'll tumble for you, right?
Exactly. I usually try to curse in languages people don't understand, but unfortunately in New York, everybody understands everything. So
How long have you been in the theater business yourself personally, Mark?
Been dancing professionally for about 50 years.
50 years. And you look so young.
Silly putty and sandpaper.
Sandpaper, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not a mask you're wearing.
Not today. Usually I am wearing a mask, but not today.
Okay, it also says you were street mime.
Yes.
What's that about?
That is you stand
Do
on
you,
the street
chase after people? Do you
Basically,
chase after?
Yep.
Do you make them uncomfortable? Do you?
Right. The weirdest thing about that is I was a street mime on Park Avenue in front of this big business building and making fun of all the people in their three-piece suits going into the building. And then things got a little slow. So I thought, okay, I'll go to a temp agency and see what I can get for extra work. Well, they sent me to that building and they had me go full time. So I became one of those people after making fun of them for days and weeks. So I've got to be careful who I make fun of.
Oh my
that's
God.
Interesting. Where'd you find that? That's
I don't know.
July. That's it. Yep, that's an Italian company that I work with. That's at St. John the Divine.
Wow. Is that you in the middle?
I'm in the middle, yes. I'm the tall one.
Are they all praising you?
And now they're trying to cut me, actually. It's a very, it's this erotic sword dance.
An erotic sword dance? I haven't had one of those in years. Is there any other kind? No, there is no other kind. But where is that taking place?
That's St. John the Divine.
Okay, that's Upper West Side. Upper West Side, Manhattan. Okay. How long was that run? That was a...
We've done that show several times in different venues, like all over the city. And we also did it in Cleveland, I think. We traveled around a little bit for it with it.
Wow. All right, Studio 54?
Oh, yeah. I didn't sleep for a year. It was fantastic.
What's up with Studio 54? I remember Studio 54. It was the kind of place you walked in with a girl and you walked out with three. Now, it was a wonderful place. It
was a wonderful place. Absolutely.
A mutt like me could have a lucky night. But how did you get this job? What did you do there?
I was working with my first job in New York, working with a graphic designer who ended up being the designer for Studio 54. So we had to change the look of the club every 2 weeks. I was part of that team that helped change the look of the club. And then we set up for all the private parties and then had to stand there and wait to make sure nothing fell over and then strike everything at the end.
Was that the place where they had dancers in cages?
I don't remember cages. There was a bridge, and actually Max's first job was dancing on the bridge at Studio 54. First one in New York.
Well, let's talk about that.
All right, let's do it.
Max McGuire, famous choreographer, dancer, director, just a nice guy. A nice guy too. And
you know.
And he was dancing on a bridge at Studio 54 or
Uh-huh.
something. What
Right.
happened with that?
The bridge did not
Did you
fall.
have your clothes on?
Did I have my what? My clothes on? Yes, I did actually. It was it was my first professional dance job in New York, and I got hired by Karen Bacon, who was the
Kevin Bacon.
sister of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she was just sort of starting off at that point in time doing special events. And we had like about 30 people doing a tap number a la Berkeley, dancing on the bridge. And then we ran down the stairs and danced with the people and had a grand old time.
It was a
Oh.
fun place.
What years was this? Was this during the disco craze?
Oh, yeah.
This was like probably 83, 82,
Okay, so
maybe 1982.
it was rounding the bend at that point, right?
Riding the bend, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So, did you enjoy your time during the disco era?
Which one of us?
Whatever.
It was a great time. It was, if you chose it to be an innocent time, it was. If you chose it not to be, it wasn't. But you could dance with everyone at the table, and that was really, really fun. I mean, the whole disco craze was amazing. I was teaching at that time too, and I would have 100 people in class at a time, which
Oh,
was
wow. What
great.
did you teach? What did you teach?
I taught hustle.
You taught the hustle?
I taught the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you still know
So
how
I
to
w-
do the hustle?
Oh, you bet. Absolutely. Now, I used to go
Really?
to clubs way back then and watch all the really amazing dancers and pick up the steps and then teach them to my students.
So you still know how to do it?
Oh, absolutely. You kidding?
All right,
That
get
never
up,
goes away.
get up. Give us a twirl.
I don't think I'm wearing pants, so I'm
Come
not
on,
sure
come
that'll
on.
work.
Oh, you're not. Definitely get up then.
Definitely get up. Not a chance.
All right, so we'll
I
check
can
on
give
him.
you a little of the history of it. The first
History.
hustle was a step, 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 touch, step, 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 touch. The Latin hustle was in 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 against 4/4 music, which made it exciting because you only hit the downbeat every 3 or 4 measures.
Did you meet any famous people while you were hustling around?
Oh, you bet. Yes, absolutely.
Who'd you meet? Who'd you meet? I don't want you to name drop, but who'd you meet?
Well, let's see. Janet Leigh, for one. I did dance with Adrienne Barbeau. She was fun.
Oh, wow.
Danced with Trump's second wife.
Which one was that?
The blonde.
Marla Maples.
Marla Maples.
Marla Maples, right?
I ran into Katharine Hepburn literally in the street in a foggy night, just went smack into her. That was interesting. And New York is great for that. You know, New York is an amazing place.
Who are the famous people you met, Max?
Oh,
Besides yourself and me, of course.
besides myself.
We both met the astronaut.
John Glenn.
John Glenn.
Oh, you met John
Yeah.
Glenn?
Sure.
What was he
John
like?
Glenn in Ohio. We were doing a special event in Ohio, and John Glenn was there. That was where we also killed the audience.
Yes, we killed them.
Accidentally or?
Yeah,
accidentally. Yeah, the florist keeled over in the middle of our performance, and we were sent over to perform in front of the body so no one would look at it.
Huh. Talking about bodies, you play a body, right? Max is still acting at this time, and you're in a pretty popular show that I used to watch on CBS because I kind of liked the first season. It's called Evil. You're playing a part in that show, but unfortunately, it's moved to Paramount or some crap.
Yes.
Yes, I'm playing Father Thomas.
Father Thomas. What's
yes,
that?
on the past line to be a saint.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kind of typecasting, I guess.
Yeah, you didn't realize that, did you, Andrew?
No, I could tell immediately.
Oh, okay. All right.
But without giving any spoilers, yeah, there's the aura. But without giving any spoilers, did you have a good time there or did it blow?
Oh, on Evil?
Yeah.
Yes. I had a very good time. I just was kind of hanging around.
Let me
for
ask you
eight
a question.
days.
You'll have to watch it to see what that means.
Now, me and Max, a little history. Me and Max have worked together. Him
Yes,
being a more polished actor, and he kind of took me under his wing when I was coming up, and helped me a lot, giving me some integrity within the
yes,
business and everything. And now, of course, I'm a superstar, and Max
that's
plays
right.
dead bodies. But let
I'm
me ask you a question, Max. What would you tell an up and coming young actor or old actor, as the case may be for me?
Up and
What would
coming
you
old.
tell an up and coming old actor or young actor? Um,
uh well, let's see. Don't give up. Take every job you get offered because you don't know who you'll meet or what you'll be doing. Um, and just have a good time doing it. It's not it's it's not a a business that you have to like. I mean, you have to treat it with respect because you'll find yourself, just as I said, you don't know who you'll meet, who you'll work with, or who the director may be. So you do want to treat it with respect, but you also want to just have a good time doing it.
okay.
It's one of those jobs that uh, just is a lot of fun, especially live stuff, I think.
All right, let me ask you another question. At the beginning, when I started out, I worked some productions for free, basically. Do you, do
Right.
you do you think that's okay to work for
Absolutely.
free at the beginning?
At the
And
beginning, and
and when is the time to start asking? Give me some cheddar.
when you are not making any money anywhere else.
That's, that's the logical answer. So
Yes. When there's no money coming in, beg for money.
I remember asking Max, I don't know how many years ago, but I looked him straight in the eye and I said, Max, do you think I could start asking for money from these people now? And he said, Yes, Andrew, yes, I think it's about time you can ask for money. It's such a cute moment. And it helped me out so much. Uh,
Well, that
Oh,
was a great part for you when you started. When we got that job, Mark and I were playing um, lawyers, and our honorable judge was
once.
none other than you.
I played the judge, right.
That's right.
That
You
was
were
in
Yes,
wonderful
Martha.
too.
Oh, thank you. That was in Martha's production, right?
Right. And
right,
we
right,
were in the
right,
Yeah.
Supreme Court. And I don't know how she got that room.
right.
It was
In
In
incredible.
Brooklyn,
in
it
Brooklyn,
was
right?
terrific. Yeah,
And the
And
star of the show was a plant. And they
right.
confiscated it as we were going in the building. We had to fight to
Yeah.
get it back again.
And what part did this potted plant have in the production?
It was the defendant.
It was to defend it. And
Mhm.
who had to question the plant?
Well, I was representing the plant, so I guess Max must have been questioning the
I
plant.
think I'm.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you think the
remember.
do you think the plant was innocent or guilty? Thinking back,
Guilty as hell. I mean innocent.
Yeah,
he went the wrong way. But that was
actually,
We've got pieces of the plant still.
the plant still lives. It lives right here. So it was a freeloading plant.
all right. But do you that was Martha, right? Do
Right.
you
Yeah.
remember we did another gig at Delmonico's famous restaurant in
Oh
New York
yes,
City?
that was
Yes,
great.
yes, yes,
Yes.
Delmonico's.
Uh-huh.
And what
yes.
parts did you play? Remember we had big hats and everything for that one?
Hmm. Well,
Mark was
I was Abraham Lincoln,
Abraham Lincoln, and I was Mark Twain.
and
Right.
I was Jack the Ripper, which was great
Jack the
fun.
Ripper.
And I think I only did one part,
No, you
right?
did too. You had to do another character. I'm sure. I don't know what it was though. I don't
I don't
remember.
remember.
But it was a great
Oh, what was the act? What was that actress's name? Who was trying to pick
Sean
me up?
Young.
Sean Young was in
Shh. John.
was
She was one. It was for the what's the name of that show?
a TV show. They were closing on their first season.
Right.
It was set in London
In the 1900s,
in
early 1900s, like turn of the
yeah,
century.
or 1890s.
What did I
That's
play
why they
again?
chose Delmonico's.
Because it's been around since then. And actually, Abraham Lincoln ate there. So
That's
Oh,
why
I played Diamond Jim Brady. That
correct.
was
Yes.
right.
Brilliantly, might I add.
Oh, you're so sweet. But let's see. Now, Max McGuire. I'm doing my
McGuire.
Christopher Walken now. All right, so you've been all around. You played from Peter Pan to Polonius.
Yes.
Now
Not on
you
the same day, though.
not on the same. You came to New York from Kansas with 2 suitcases and $300.
Yeah.
When did you
Nobody
figure
told
out?
me.
Did you ever say to yourself, "What the hell am I doing here"?
That feeling kind of would occur a little bit, maybe 6 months. You know, I was still kind of wondering what the hell was I doing here, but then it just started to feel great. I mean, when I first moved here, I remember walking over to the Hudson River and like going, I know somewhere out there, way off in the distance is where I'm from. But I, as time went by, it just became really fun living in New York City. This ain't Kansas no more, and thank God.
Yeah, you just took one of my questions away.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
all right, so you've traveled to Asia, Canada, and the Caribbean.
right.
Is that true, or is that just on the card?
No, it's absolutely true.
Yeah. That was well during the 80s, we started working with touring companies, and one of them is Alice Farley Dance Theater, and we still work
Right.
for her.
Mhm.
And she had a lot of work all over the country and all over the world, actually.
Mhm.
Mostly her stuff happened in her out of town gigs were in Asia.
Mhm.
So we did a show in Singapore
And what
for
kind of performances were these?
They're dance theater performances. So it's very large costumes, very involved characters,
right. Alice by nature is
surrealist.
surrealist, so
Uh,
everything that she creates is like unexpected. It's like you kind of see these creatures and you don't really know who or what they are, but then you have to just
Give me an
experience.
example, if you can recall. Give me an example of
Well,
one of these
one of the
surrealistic.
first characters that I played for her was not the Puff Ups, but
Spinner.
a spinner.
What the hell is a
And
spinner?
a
Well, in
spinner,
England, you call them a slithy toad.
Oh, well, that I know.
Yeah, I guess. Yes.
they're sort of a mix of a penguin
And a snail.
and a snail.
Is this real or fantasy?
It's
No,
a fantasy.
so it's surreal.
Surreal.
Surreal. So you played a penguin and what is
Yeah,
it?
It's a combo.
a combo. I mean, that was the first gig that we did with Alice, and we did it at Lower East
La Mama.
Side, La Mama, back in the '80s, and she actually won a Bessie Award for
For
that
that. That's
show.
choreography in New York.
Yeah,
Yes.
which
Nice.
was
So what was your motivation to play a penguin hybrid?
money,
Okay, that's good.
and work with Alice.
To work with Alice. That was the amazing thing.
Yeah.
She's a genius. There's no other way to
She
describe
is,
her.
huh?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
she is she still in the costume design
Oh, yeah.
business?
Yeah. Well, she
Okay.
designs costumes. She creates the choreography. Pardon me. She
What's her
kind of does
name
it
again?
all.
What's her
Alice
name?
Farley, Farley. You can find her on
Okay.
YouTube. Alice Farley
All right.
Dance Theater. Some
All
amazing
right,
stuff.
so-
She uses large costumes to extend the body line. So some are on stilts, some are on the ground. They're always really big and complicated.
And when she creates pieces, you as a performer get to help create the characters. and the interaction. So it's a really very creative, richly creative experience.
Absolutely. The shape is put on you, and you have to explore to see how that shape can move and how it can fit in context of what
Right.
she's doing.
Okay, now, Mark,
Mhm.
you did some costume work as well with the Magic Flute. Is that correct?
Correct. I'll be performing in December and January at the Met on Stilts in the Magic
That's
Flute.
the opera, right? That's the opera.
Yes, it is. So I'm
That's-
a bear on the first act, a bear puppeteer, and then I'm on stilts as a flamingo in the second act.
So you are performing at the Metropolitan Opera.
Absolutely, which is a miracle.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
in the ballet company, basically. I'm an extra ballet performer. And at the age of 50, I got to sign my first ballet contract, which was kind of
Wow.
amazing. And that was 17 years ago. So it's kind of a miracle.
So you're like a Mikhail Baryshnikov, right?
Hardly, not a chance, not a chance. I'm just lucky I get to perform a lot of different ways. I do jazz dance, historical dance.
All right. So is this the New York Ballet Theater or the American Ballet Theater?
No, this is the Metropolitan Opera Ballet.
Oh, they have their own circuit, huh?
They sure
Look at all
do.
these beautiful pictures. And
wow, you guys are really doing your homework. That's amazing.
That's my producer. My producer's like
He's good.
Oh, wow.
a genius, a genius.
Yeah, and they were underneath
Yeah.
Google is the Magic Flute there, and then I work with a lot of historical music companies. So I do historical dance and some of it on stilts, which is really fun.
Wow, look at that.
It's a three-legged dance. Yeah,
Oh, look at that.
I'm very fortunate. It's just
What is that? Is that a band?
Yeah, it is a band.
All right, let me ask you, Mark. While your life is floating by in pictures, there's been a lot of scrutiny in ballets recently. Is there a lot of funny business that goes on in the ballet, in the world?
I'm not a ballet dancer, so I really can't say if there's a lot of funny business going on or not. I know people work hard. I know that getting up part is probably pretty difficult. So, but that's all I know. I'm not really familiar. I know the dancers at the Met are very accepting of older dancers like me. So that's all I can say. My experience has been it's cool. I'm sure people have other experiences, but I've had nothing but good experiences.
Well, that's a good, safe answer. Now, let me ask you, it says on the card that you've toured nationally and internationally. Where the hell have you gone?
I've done work in China. I've done work in Korea, in Thailand, Canada, Aruba, Barbados, Amsterdam, pretty much all over. It's been great.
And what are these cultures like, especially Eastern culture, like India, China, or were you in China?
I was in China twice, yeah.
What was that like?
It was kind of amazing because it was at a point when people were just beginning to own their own apartments. There was a little more freedom. So it was pretty interesting.
2007, right? 2007.
2008, actually. And then I went back again after that. But it's funny. The most bizarre job I've ever had was in China, where I was an American on stilts, imitating the first emperor of China in a costume that weighed 50 pounds, hired by a French company, dancing on one of the gates of the city to disco music that was sung in Spanish.
Disco music in China?
Sung in Spanish, yes.
Sung in Spanish.
Yeah. And actually, the clients were so happy, they took us out to a Latin club afterwards. Best Latin music I've ever heard. Incredible.
Where in China? Where in China were you?
Beijing.
Beijing.
But I've also worked in Hangzhou as well.
Hangzhou. Were you in China too, Max?
No, I've never been to China, but I have worked in Singapore.
Singapore. Now, what's that like? There's a lot of Americans in Singapore. Is that correct?
Yeah, but well, we were there. We worked there in the early '90s, and at that point in time, it was like that was the first time I came in touch with cameras everywhere. I mean, the entire city was under surveillance, no matter where you
really.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was pretty amazing and shocking, actually.
And there are ammonia sensors in the elevators. They were. So heaven forbid you peed in the elevator because the elevator would lock down and it wouldn't open until they photographed you and put your picture in the paper.
Okay, my
It
next
was pretty
question, of
amazing.
course, is why would you pee in the elevator
Well, some
in
people
Hong
do.
Kong? Yeah, some people do. All right, so
Are
how
you
long?
vamping?
How, now explain vamping to the audience here.
Vamping is when the musician will play until the singer can find the right place in the music again. They just keep on repeating the
Right.
same thing until,
Yeah,
okay, ready, and you jump in.
So
right.
That's
that's
vamping.
there's an actual word for that then.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that's vamping.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right,
Or
so
in tap dance, it's called doing the treadmill.
so
Just do the same step over and over until you find your opportunity to jump in.
so the two of you still teach dance, is that correct?
That's true. Yeah.
When the hell are you going to retire?
When 3 years after I die, I got bills to pay.
What
I'm
about you?
thinking maybe I could be a mannequin in a store or something. I'll think of something.
What is the longest amount of time you spent on those stilts
11 hours
in a row?
for a film. Yes, it was for
Oh my God.
Cradle Will Rock.
Cradle of Rock. What was that? A
Cradle
movie?
Will Rock. It
Oh,
was
that
about
was a
the
horror movie, right?
no, that's rock Cradle Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The Cradle Will Rock was about the WPA in New York, the actors. So it was that was the
Now
longest I've been on stilts.
you get extra money for that, right? Because it's a special.
Not as
Yeah.
much as I used to. It used to be a really nice chunk, and now they whittled it down quite a bit.
Did they whittle it down?
They whittled it down. Yeah.
Now let me ask you: if somebody wanted to get into dance, whatever kind of dance, interpretive dance, I don't know if they do disco much anymore. But
Mhm.
what advice, Mark, would you give to a up and coming young or old
Mhm.
person saying, "I have to dance. I have to dance."
Just do it. And if you're a young person trying to get into dance, learn as many styles as possible. Because if
Learn
you
as many
only do
styles.
one style, um, you only get one kind of work. Where if you branch out, you should have one style that you're really good at, but then explore everything else too, because you never know what's going to come up. They may need, who knows what they might need. They might need a clogger. They might need, a disco dancer. They might need a
A
modern dancer.
clogger? What did you say? A clogger?
Clogging is it's
That's
like tapping, but it's
Irish.
well, that's Irish step dance. Clogging is a little different. It's uh, from the States here. It's like tap dancing. It's like country dancing or square dancing and tap dancing put together is clogging.
Wow.
There's a wonderful commercial on TV. I forgot what company it is,
Oh
but
yeah.
they talk about how their house has a problem with clogging, and upstairs there are people all clogging
Their
upstairs.
pipes are clogged.
Right.
Now, how can you tell if if you run into somebody in the business in
Mm-hmm.
dance,
Yeah.
whether they're reputable or disreputable? Is there like something you hear or they say or something where you're like, nah, this ain't kosher?
It's
Probably with anything, you just have to keep your feelers out, and
yeah,
just if
but
something doesn't sound right, it probably isn't.
it's pretty hard to tell what somebody can actually do until you see them in a performance
Mm-hmm.
or see them at a rehearsal.
But also,
And
if someone's in charge, notice how they're treating other people in the company. That's an important thing.
Okay,
Um,
what are some reputable companies right now if you wanted to
oh
get
my gosh, there's
start out
tons of them.
and
Oh, to
learn?
start out with, I
Yeah.
really don't know. I've been doing this for so long. I don't know what companies you could begin with, but there are so many out there. There are so many groups, and not always just in New York. I mean, there are groups all over the country. Pretty wonderful. It's like theater. You don't have to necessarily be in New York to see really good theater. That used to be the case, but now you can see good theater almost anywhere. So
So you think regional is on the same level as New York?
Some of it is. Some of these kids are
Really?
outrageously good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Sometimes in New York, producers are afraid to take a chance on things because of the money. It costs so much money. And sometimes regionally, they'll take a chance on something that may or may not work because money, it's not as expensive. So sometimes New York productions can be safer than regional.
So they may
interesting.
go ahead, Max.
It's interesting to me, Mike, where I graduated from college at the University of Northern Colorado. I had a theater arts degree. And now my school, University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, Colorado, has a showcase for their graduating class every year here in New York City for agents. So it's an amazing development in there's not such a distance from going to school in the Midwest to like being on Broadway. You know, they make the opportunity available.
And you can make those connections in school too. It's amazing. If you're just nice to people, you can make connections anywhere.
Okay. What happens when adversity comes into your life, Max and Mark, and me too? I've had some health issues, cancer being one of them, and gone for radiation treatments. And I know one of you might have had similar issues. Do you ever think about quitting the business and saying, "Oh, screw this"? I don't know, why I'm doing this anyway. Do you ever get uncertain? How do you take that next step forward when these actual life situations come up?
Well, that's a deep question, Andrew. You know, I mean, you know what my history is. 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with throat cancer, and I did radiation chemo, and I came back from that really well. But so did cancer come back, and my next step was having surgery. It was a pretty radical surgery, um, and an accident happened where my tongue got attached to the side of my jaw. And so I no longer have the capability or the confidence to rely on myself vocally. Uh, I just don't know when it's going to give out on me or just be impossible. So, I do have thoughts of maybe this isn't such an important thing for me to keep doing. Um, Maybe the writing is on the walls and I should just hang it up, you know. But it is something that I've done since I was like in seventh grade. I performed, so there's that aspect, and I have to really consider what I'm submitting for in a different way. And
Because you sound wonderful right now. I'll tell you
that's surprising. But it's things have changed. That's all I can say. And I mean, but this is the other side of the coin. Like in the middle of July, I was at the airport and I fell down the stairway.
yeah.
And I got a concussion and I spent 3 days in the hospital. And somehow or other, I just had this amazing loss of memory that I'd even done it or how I did that or what caused it. And so I wasn't so bothered by it. It was like
freaked me out, I'll tell you.
It was like, okay, let's just get it back together. And so last week I started dancing again.
Which is amazing with a concussion. It's just, really amazing.
So I was like, okay, enough of this. I'm going to start dancing again. So I took a couple of classes. It wasn't as simple as what I thought, but that's what I did.
Mm.
And I still keep submitting things, you know.
Because
I haven't auditioned for any theater stuff, which is really my, really my thing.
okay, because
Theater.
you've been a master of tap dancing. I will use that word master of tap dancing for several millennia. No, I mean years. And
Oh yes,
did you look up to anybody when you were coming up
my
to
God,
choose like tap?
Fred Astaire, and Gene Kelly. Oh my God,
Really?
just brilliant. And Danny Kaye. There were some terrific, during the 30s, 40s, 50s, just some fantastic tap dancers who had just such a great legacy. And, as a kid in Kansas, I would watch every old TV show or every old movie that I could see that had those, combinations of those guys dancing. And that's what I wanted to do, you know. Uh, Except interestingly, I didn't really start studying dance until I moved to New York. So I started studying dance at the age of 28.
Wow.
And and it became a full-time job for me. I'd take classes all day, um, uh, 3 hours of tap a day. I'd take a ballet class every day. That was an hour and a half. And then I would do jazz also. And I did that for about 6 years, 6 days a week. And then I got a job dancing with a company that toured.
Nice.
So that was sort of
What was
what
the name of
really,
that company? Do you remember?
uh, that was Le Clique. But I worked with a modern company before that, Rika Barnum. And I worked with her for a couple of shows at Marymount College, and then shortly after that, I started working with Alice. So um, she most of her work is modern dance, also.
Mhm.
So
Right. And you're still
yeah,
working with Alice, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we both are.
yeah.
Okay. What's
So
your favorite form of dance there, Mark?
I like jazz. I like jazz a lot. Of course, I like the stilt dance. The stilt dancing is amazing. I love ballroom dancing. I love partner dancing. It's really, really fun.
What is that,
Um,
partner dancing?
well, you're communicating with the partner, just dancing, a waltz, a cha-cha, whatever kind of
tango.
social dancing.
Oh,
Oh,
look at
there's Silver
that.
Thorn. These are two
Oh
of
my
Alice's
God.
costumes. Yeah,
How do you
this
do
is
that?
also, yes, I'm the blonde.
Yeah, I'm the blonde. I'm the
Anyway, yeah,
blonde.
Alice's work is incredible. She's absolutely amazing.
That's surrealist. That's
Mhm.
what we were talking about. You know, it's not really.
There she is.
There's Alice
Yeah.
Wow.
talking about her work.
Did I meet her at that Thanksgiving dinner?
Yes, we
Probably,
went
yes,
to,
for
yeah,
sure.
we had Thanksgiving at her apartment.
Right, right. Downtown in the
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Okay.
loft space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the Greenwich Village.
And
Yeah,
that's the one.
that's the
Do,
one.
do you do you guys have any upcoming projects you'd like to tell us about right now?
Well, as a matter of fact, we're currently doing choreography for a new show based on Sophie Tucker, which is really
Sophie Tucker.
exciting.
Who was
Mhm.
Sophie
Right.
Tucker?
An amazing performer who kind of carved. She made her persona at a time when, you know, women who were large were not necessarily accepted. She made of it. She kept telling everyone how beautiful she was, and oh, this is a historical
Oh
dance
my
work,
God.
and everyone believed it. And she, Midler, based a lot of her early stuff on Sophie Tucker, a lot of the jokes and things like that. At one time, the highest paid performer, probably in the world, if not at least the country.
Was this in
So yeah,
Paris? Was this in Paris?
no, she worked here mainly.
Oh,
She moved to New York in like 1903 and started working shortly after that with the Ziegfeld Follies.
Hmm.
And then she worked for uh, William Morris
Hmm.
is from
Really?
that period of time, the modeling company, and
Yeah.
he hired her, and they did national tours, and that's how she did L.A.
Oh my
And she
God.
did a lot of stuff. Wow, here's
Historical
Look at
dance.
that.
Yeah, this
yeah,
was at the not the National
Where?
Gallery. It was the Library of Congress. We did a show
in
there,
Washington D.C.
Oh my
which was
God.
great. We
It's
got to dance
beautiful.
to a piece of music that was written for us. We did a stilt thing for it, written for us by the Marine band performed it, and it was written by someone in Australia, which was kind of amazing.
Do you like the ballroom dancing?
I love it.
You
Absolutely.
love
It's
it,
really,
right?
really fun. I mean,
What
I
is it
love
about?
communicating with people.
It's a just a great form of dance.
Hmm.
It's
It's really
classy, right?
wonderful.
It's really,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it
And I
beckons
enjoy,
back.
yeah, I enjoy dancing with people with no experience as much as I enjoy dancing with people with a lot of experience. Because someone with no experience can sometimes put themselves in a place that you can do an amazing step because of where they put themselves just by accident. And it's fun also to see how much a partner can do or not do, whether they like to turn right or turn left. And if you cue into that, you can just have a really good time and make them feel really comfortable and just both
Are,
have a
are
really good time.
are you accepting any private clients right now?
Not at the moment. I should be starting ballroom classes again at the bridge fairly soon. But my jazz classes, I do a jazz class on Thursdays, uh, Zoom. Uh, we're changing the times right now. This coming week, it'll be at 3:30, 3:30 to
Okay.
4:30 Zoom, and then
How could
live from 2 to 3:30 on
how could
Thursdays.
people find out info
It's
about this
The
stuff?
Bridge for Dance,
What is it?
104th and Broadway. The Bridge for Dance,
Bridge
104
for
and Broadway.
Dance.
Bridge for Dance,
100.
yes.
Okay, and they're going to do a Zoom thing.
Well, I've been doing Zoom classes since the
pandemic.
pandemic started. So
Okay, so you
uh,
could find these classes through.
if you go to bridge info@dance.com, you can find anything you want
Yeah,
there
I teach a class
on
there.
Mondays there.
Yeah,
Info
So
at a bridge to dance.com.
bridgefordance.com. Or just go to bridgefordance.com. I mean,
Bridge for
info is
dance.
the email, but just go to bridgefordance.com, FOR, and everything's listed there. Look for the adult program.
Okay, are you ready for the three questions?
Oh no, there are three questions. Uh-oh. You didn't tell us about this.
Who wants to go first?
He does.
Okay,
Okay.
Max McGuire.
yes.
Question one. Are there any acting techniques that you use?
Silence. Um,
You know, like Meisner, Stanislavski, any of that bullshit. I mean, any of that stuff.
you know,
The
Andrew, it's
method.
interesting. It's interesting how I approach characters. Um, like in legitimate theater, I always rely first on the script. That's where I get my information, who the person is, what they're about, their background that I create, where they came from. Um, so I go from the literature first, and then I decide on visual aspects of the character. Do they have any defining physical characteristics? A limp, a twist,
Right.
a little squeak, something that visually defines them. And then their relationships with the other characters in the play. Um, it's really, that's sort of where I come from with that. I have done, um, I've studied not really very much. For a number of years when I still lived in Colorado, I did general theater, and most runs of plays or musicals was only about 6 or 8 weeks. And so it gave me a great opportunity to go through a lot of characters at that point in time, and just learn about creating different characters. It
All
was
right.
really fun.
Okay. Thank you. Question two. What was your favorite, or still is your favorite place to perform or direct? Because I know you've directed a few productions as well. And what do you
Right.
prefer, acting or directing?
Um, During let's see, I guess it was around 2005 where I started directing more, and uh, I was in a theater company, and it gave me a great opportunity to direct. Because one of the first questions when I got in the company, there was, are you willing to direct? And I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind directing. And I didn't realize that that was going to put me in a position of directing constantly. But it was a great, great experience. And surprisingly enough, it gives you the same buzz that
Really?
acting does. There's a sense of satisfaction, and um, it's a complete opportunity to like really have great feelings about the work.
Okay,
You
but
know, it's
where was
I was doing most of that work at it was at a theater on 45th Street called the 45th Street Theater,
in New York City
and
here?
yeah, here, yes, and recently we've been doing cabaret acts, which we've been doing at Don't Tell Mama, some that
Yeah.
we've directed and performed in as well, which is also a really great combination of things to get to do. Um, uh,
He directed a production of Night Mother that was
Right.
incredible. It was
Right.
yeah,
incredible, devastating.
that I did in a little theater on the east side, down in the East Village. Um, it only seated like 45 people, 50 people, and the intimacy of that little theater
Yeah.
and that show was
Incredible.
pretty powerful.
Mhm. But then you did Talking Heads too, which was amazing. All these
Yeah,
different monologues
right.
to be able to
That was at the
pull,
45th Street
to pull
Theater.
information out of
Yeah,
each monologue, out of
yeah.
each character, and each actor was really an amazing feat.
I used to do I used to do children's musical
Oh,
theater stuff. I did that for about 7 or 8 years. I can't remember.
wow.
And I used to take full length musicals and edit them down to being like 45-minute shows and 45 to an hour, and use kids from like 5 to 14. It was great. It
That's
was also
beautiful.
really,
All
great
right.
experience.
All right. So let's go to the third question. This may be the most important question of the trio. Are there any birds or avian life in your beard right now?
Is something showing?
I thought I saw a beak emerge.
Ah, a beak. Well, I'll just give it a little tweak.
Yes, tweak the beak.
I'll
All
tweak.
right. All right. What about Mark? Mark,
Okay.
you got
Only
three
on
questions.
Mondays and only when I'm in a good mood.
I kind of already asked you this, but let's be
Okay.
more let's be more clear about this
Okay.
and graphic or whatever, because that's
I
what
can do
we do
graphic.
here. We're
Uh-huh.
graphic. Question one: what was Studio 54 really like?
It was it was an amazing creative time. The fact that we could
Oh, come
change the look
on!
of the club every week, see amazing people dancing on the floor in the private little areas. It was great. It
What
didn't
about
smell
the
so good. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it didn't smell so good. What can I
what about
say?
the hose? What about the hose?
A hose? Well, wow, they're really digging up the
How are they
hose.
finding all this shit?
Oh my God! It's so
That's
colorful.
amazing. That was up in Vermont. That was at a church up in Vermont where I think I
Oh my
did six
God!
different characters there on stilts and off stilts. Got to be
Oh my
born out
God.
of a
There he
whale.
is on stilts.
Yeah.
Is
as a
that
green
in a
man.
church? A church or something?
He's in a
Yeah.
church, yeah.
Oh,
So
In
church.
Lexington,
Vermont.
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 No,
No, Massachusetts. Yeah,
Massachusetts.
that's
It was,
right.
wow.
yeah.
Okay, so the second question:
Uh-huh.
what is or was or whatever your favorite place to perform?
Right now, it's the Met. I mean, I love performing there. It's an amazing experience. The stage is incredible, and the people are great to work with. Although I love performing anywhere. There was one day when I was performing on the West Coast at the Arm and Hammer Museum, and then another museum too. I can't think of the name of it. And the next day I was performing in a parking lot in New Jersey, and they were equally good. I just love performing, period. I mean, when you're a dancer, it's in your skin and it's in your bones, and you just have to keep doing it. That's,
Wow.
when I don't do it, I get really sad. I've got to dance. I've got to do it.
You got to dance, right?
Got to do it.
Gotta
Gotta
dance.
Okay. The third question, and you brought up the Arm and Hammer Theater
A museum.
Museum, the Arm and Hammer. That'll lead right into the third question, actually,
Okay.
which is, and this may be the most important question of all:
Uh-huh.
do your feet stink after being in stilts all day?
Probably, but I'm so far away from them, I don't notice.
Okay.
I see there's a question up here. Yes, I've had a few. I've had a few falls. The worst one was in China. I was on four-legged stilts, and I was running on granite.
Four-legged stilts. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God.
Yeah, they strap you under your arms and your legs. Running on granite, there was a tree, and there was moss growing on the granite under the tree, and I fell sideways. I didn't get hurt
Oh my
necessarily,
God.
but I had a bruise like this big on my side. Flew the next day, and it was like every color of the rainbow. So yeah, I've had a few falls, but the first thing you learn how to do on stilts is how to fall down.
Right.
So I never really worry about it. You just go with the flow. You let it go, and what happens happens. So
And
I guess I cuss a lot. That's about
this is about 8 to 9 feet in the air, you said?
not that high in the air. My stilts are generally between 3 and 4 feet high. So my head is 8 or 9 feet in the air, but
And
probably the
you
heart.
you actually run on these damn things?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, the forelegs are great. You can really get going really fast. You've got to think in fours though. You got to think like a horse. You study a horse and see how they run, and that's how you run with them. It's cool. Alice has one costume that's a three-legged costume. So the hands are tied together in front. You think in threes as you're moving, or else you give yourself an appendectomy. It's kind of bizarre, but if you're thinking in threes, then it works. But no, I've been so lucky to do really cool things, and body's still holding out. Nothing hurts. So what can I say? I'm just going to keep going with it.
I
Mark,
just
they're not paying you to lie.
one
Yes.
one final question for the two of you before we leave this studio. What would your ideal project be right now? If you could pick a project and say, yeah, that would be really friggin' cool.
I'd like to do something with historical dance because I respect it so much. And in movies and in TV, it's disregarded. Many people don't do their research on it, and it
Huh.
should be respected like any other form of dance. It's incredible the differences between, like, say, the early 1900s when everything was very intricate to the mid at the beginning of the 1800s. I'm sorry, where everything was very intricate, to the middle where you had the big skirts, everything was kind of sweeping, where the men had to lead, to the end of the century where, because of the
Industrial
revolution,
Revolution.
you had people
Right.
coming into society that didn't know how to dance, became very simplified, very um, rudimentary. So, yeah, I'd like to do something with historical dance. Actually, with the Sophie Tucker project, we are incorporating historical
Period
movement,
stuff.
period movement,
Yeah.
and
You
that
really
excites
are.
me. Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah, it really excites me.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be difficult, though. Jesus.
It's just a lot of research and
Right.
being respectful of the movement and of the time
All right.
period.
So, what about you, Max? If you had a project, ideal project, and said, yeah, what is it?
You know, I certainly would like to be able to do another piece of live theater.
Out there. Yeah.
And I don't really have anything quite in mind. And
Because
the
I
other
saw
thing is,
you play Polonius in New Jersey,
you saw me play Polonius,
which
yes.
was an incredible play.
Yeah, it's a
The
great piece of
quality of the
theater.
acting was just sensational.
That
The
was a
quality of
really
the
good
theater,
production.
not so much,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the acting was really knock your socks off, knock your
yeah,
stilts off.
Nicky still
yeah,
top, yes.
yeah.
So you're going to
So
do another.
I just don't know, Andrew. What I have continued to do, which has really helped me vocally, is I continue to sing, and I really enjoy that a great deal. And it's actually easier to sing than it is to talk,
Right.
um, which is kind of funny. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm thinking is the next thing. Um, we'll just have to see, you
Hmm.
know?
That's the great thing about New York. You never know.
You
Right.
never know.
You never know.
Well, I'd like to thank
I
our
mean,
two guests. Well, go ahead. You got something more to say?
I was going to say, before I got sick, I was doing a number of independent films, and I really enjoyed that. There was a couple of really nice films that I felt really, you know, enhanced by the experience of getting to do them. So more of that kind of work would also be nice.
Yeah, film work would be very nice. That would be great.
Yeah.
I did do
Right.
Enchanted many, many years ago on Stilts, which was really fun. So my
Enchanted.
my backside is
So
actually immortalized in red velvet on screen.
did your backside meet Amy Adams?
Yes, absolutely. My front side too. It was very nice.
Was she nice? What was she like,
Very,
Amy
she was
Adams?
incredibly nice. Yeah, I think she
She
tried to feed
seems.
me a line actually, but very cool.
Did you vamp it?
I tried as much as I could. Didn't get a credit, but was definitely in the film, which was really fun, and get residuals. Yes,
We love Amy
so
Adams on this show. So
he's
we
amazing.
love
Yeah.
Ariana Grande and we love
Mhm.
Amy Adams.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank our two special guests. I'd like to thank them for buying me dinner the other week, too. That was very nice. We got Max McGuire, who may or may not have avian life in his beard. And we have Mark Mindek. Do the hustle, baby.
Do the hustle.
I'd like to thank the people who produced this show at Mojo Rising, the new face of your podcast hopes. In fact, there's another show after this at 7 p.m. tonight. Go to YouTube, watch the shows. They're very funny. I may creep because I'm a creepy dude. I may creep onto that show later on as well. There's another show called Listed Live. It's all about the hip hop business and all that kind of stuff. What's new and upcoming. Who are the rappers that are going to make it today, and who are just the pretenders? That's on Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. And Sue, my friend Sue, will be having a show coming up soon. It's still in the working stage, but that will be coming soon. So I'll have more information on Sue's show next Monday. Mojo Rising, the whole crew meets Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then there's a second show for the second day. And Fridays, it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can follow everything on YouTube. You could be a contributor. You could get a backstage pass and interview these wonderful, wonderful people with eons of experience. I have here the wonderful Max and Mark, the Broadway Queens. I don't know. Let's not say that, though. All right, so we got Max and Mark. Any closing statements from any of you before we put this monkey to bed?
Well, we've enjoyed the monkey very much. We were terrified, and
You were
it was just a lot of
terrified.
fun.
Oh,
Absolutely. talking
Oh.
for an hour. I mean, I'm a mime,
It's
remember?
great.
So it was great. We really, and you do a great job. We really appreciate um, your vamping. Excellent vamping.
I didn't even know what this word is. Now I learned so much about the dancing business.
Mhm.
So thank you, everyone. Please
Thank
join
you,
us.
Andrew.
Yes.
Thank you, Max and Mark, and Mark
Thank
and Max.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.